February 5th, Bridgewater Township Council meeting. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on December 5th, 2025. I guess it was, yeah. By sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the township clerk. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bucko?
Here.
Councilwoman Isla? Here. Councilman Kirsch?
Here.
Councilman Ring?
Good evening, here.
President Geiger?
Here. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have the January 22nd, 2026 minutes for approval of the regular session. Is there any, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second? I'll second. Is there any discussion?
Just let the record reflect I'm abstaining.
Oh, because you were absent, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Now, next, we're moving on to the Township Council reports. I'm going to have Andrew go first this time. Mr. Bucko, Councilman.
Thank you very much, Madam President. On 2 Saturdays ago, I had the privilege of going to the Van Horn House open house tour, which is run by the Heritage Trail Organization. It's one of the historic houses in Bridgewater where a Revolutionary War general stayed. And I'd also like to point out that there is a bus tour of the 5 houses, the 5 generals' houses that are in Somerset County that Revolutionary War general stayed at. Of course, we know the house in Somerset where General George Washington stayed, but there are 2 other houses in Bridgewater. The Van Vaten House that General Nathaniel Greene stayed at, and the Van Horn House where General William Alexander stayed at. So that's on February 22nd, a Sunday, and that's coming up. So if you are interested in local history, that is something you should probably take advantage of. I also gave blood at the blood drive that was held, actually one of the 2 competing blood drives that were held last Thursday. One was at the Bradley Gardens Fire Station, and the other one was at the Elks Lodge on Union Avenue here in Bridgewater. There was also another one today at the Elks Lodge. If you are able to, I would certainly encourage everyone to give blood. It's, it's life, basically. And you can do it pretty much any day at the Somerset Hospital. There's a blood donation room there. Also, last Wednesday, I had the opportunity to volunteer at the food bank on Easy Street. Councilwoman Lisa did as well. I'm sure she'll also mention that. Basically, just, if you are able to, please help your neighbors out. Thank you very much. That's my report.
Councilman Kirsch.
Thank you. I may jump around a little bit, but a few brief items. So the blood drive was mentioned. So just to give a little bit more color commentary, that was the blood and platelet drive, the one that I'm speaking of anyway, at the Bradley Gardens Firehouse as part of Maternal Health Awareness Day, being led by Casey Cattell, Meenal Patel, and Brianna Zarang. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm so sorry. Zarenkowicz. 3 local residents. A very important issue. Obviously, giving blood for any reason is a good reason, but this drive was particularly focused on awareness for maternal health. and I was able to present a proclamation associated with that. Following that, went to the ribbon cutting. So here's our souvenir piece of ribbon. I have them in almost every color now. That was the Nirvana Recovery Centers. I was there with Council President Geiger and Councilwoman Isla, so they may also be able to provide commentary. The Nirvana Recovery Centers, led by Dr. Sparshal Patel, they will be employing 25 people at that facility here in Bridgewater, so that's certainly, good news for us. And their focus is post-traumatic mental health support, an important component of our overall health support system. Also, Grace and I didn't rehearse this, but I'm going to acknowledge that on Saturday, I think, we had the Saturday special walk-in opportunity for pet license, for dog licensing. So, it's coming up. Even better. It's coming up on Saturday. I thought it was last Saturday. On our social media, 7-year-old Lily, she lives at my house. So, that's how she became just slightly more famous beyond our neighborhood. But the point is, all kidding aside, that it is critically important that we license our pets, particularly now with the focus on dogs. It is the law, and it also is a good public safety matter, both for the humans and for the canines. Obviously, snow is on everybody's mind. I'm sure that Mr. Pappas will give a report, and I presume there'll be at least some back and forth discussion. And then the other item I wanted to mention, this was bouncing around last year. I had a conversation earlier this week with State Senator Steinhardt. He and I are going to meet formally next week, discussing some questions surrounding public notice for development, some ideas that have surfaced among some of us, on this dais, and maybe some who are no longer on this dais. The basic concern is that we seem to have a one flavor of notice, whether you want to add a kitchen or whether you want to have a use variance in a commercial zone. We have a one-size-fits-all, and at least my sense is one size may not fit all. So that's something that Senator Steinhardt has some interest in pursuing. Exactly where that goes, I don't know. Maybe it becomes legislation, and maybe we make Bridgewater a little more famous because we've suggested a good idea. And that is my report.
Thank you. I'm still encouraging people to fill out the volunteer application. I believe there might be some outside in the hallway. Get them in. There will be a new form posted on the website, but we're in the process of uploading a new website, so be patient. There's a lot of glitches going on with it, but it'll get straightened out. But there will be a new application, and we are asking people when they fill out the application to also provide a letter of intent with it. In other words, just tell us why you want to serve the community on the particular committees that you're asking to serve on. Councilman Kirsch and I are working on amending the council bylaws to formalize what we expect of the applicants, and we'll probably have that resolution ready for our next meeting. I also want to note that most of the professional appointments that are on the agenda for today will be postponed. We are still waiting for additional applicants to submit RFPs for the public. That basically means applications for some of the positions. They will be alternates positions. We're not necessarily going to take anyone off that's already on and due to be appointed. I would also like to mention that we have a local hero, Coach DJ Catalano, who is a coach at the Bridgewater Raritan High School, received an award for the from the New Jersey Suburban Football League, and I have a copy of the article here if anyone wants to read it. I would also like to, on behalf of the council, offer my condolences to the family of State Police Officer First Class Sergeant Sean William Acker, who passed away yesterday due to complications from a work-related injury. And finally, I'm going to try to add a fun history fact about Bridgewater. at every council meeting in honor of the 250th anniversary. So my fun fact for tonight is that George Washington danced for hours in Bridgewater with the wife of General Nathaniel Greene at someone on the dais might be able to correct me, the Vector House? Van Vector House in Bridgewater. I thought that was kind of neat. And now it's your turn, Councilman Ring.
Thank you. A couple things. I apologize having not been at the last meeting. Some of these may go back a little bit further, but did participate and attend the annual banquet of the Martinsville Rescue Squad. Also attended the Somerset Patriots annual partners event, which was quite nice. Also was involved in some pre-storm communication with emergency management. Talking a little bit, Councilman Kirsch mentioned snow. Snowstorms are very difficult because you're relying on weather forecasts that sometimes are not always accurate or not as accurate as we would hope. You're trying to figure out what time do you bring crews in, recognizing, you bring a crew in, you start paying them. So what time do you bring crews in, that kind of stuff. A lot goes into it. Things don't always go perfectly, but I would like to extend at least my appreciation for our public works crews who put in countless hours during the storm. Actually saw a piece yesterday. This is one of the most interesting storms some of the weather people were talking about. The fact that we still have so much snow on the ground is caused by the fact that the ice on top, even though we're getting above freezing, it's preventing the melting of the snow. So a very challenging storm, so I thank them for their efforts. And that's my report.
Okay. Councilman Isla?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I'll just add to what Councilman Timmering was saying. I did contact Anjek, one of our environmental advocates, about the snow, what's going to happen when it melts. So, I'm just worried about all the flooding issues that we've discussed, but apparently we're still in a drought. So if you didn't know, New Jersey is in a drought status, so we should be okay. But if once it starts melting, you have any issues, we'll tackle it. We're already thinking about working with the environmental commissions around, not just here, but New Jersey with that. So then on my reports, I actually wanted to say that I've actually been very active, not just at the local level. The local level is my heart, but at the national and international level, we've really been going out there and talking about Bridgewater to strengthen public health, as well as expanding coalitions, community partnerships, and really elevating Bridgewater and Bridgewater's voice in every way possible. And you might have heard the news recently, the Gateway Hudson Tunnel project. We'll probably touch that at the next meeting, so I'll postpone my update. But it's less of a, for me at least, both of us commute to New York for work, my husband and I. So for us, it's more than just a transportation issue. It is a quality of life issue, so we can live in the suburbs and be able to still work with our partners and vendors there. So in the essence of crossing borders, I was lucky enough to meet with New York Governor Kathy Hochul to discuss inclusion, safety, and regional resilience. And we actually met at the Canadian consulate in New York. And it was really nice because she already knew immediately about Bridgewater. She's heard about our historic win last year. But it's really important that Bridgewater is already on the map and that our leadership is being noticed, because when things like this emerge, we do have to build coalitions and work not just with New Jersey, but our tri-state area. And while I was there at the Canadian consulate, it was a very small world where, they found out I was the first Canadian American elected in Bridgewater, probably one of the very few that, have crossed over here. But in my next update, hopefully I can kind of share with Joan and I being invited by the consul, Tom Clark, to the upcoming Paper Mill Playhouse 9/11 play about how a lot of friends, as well as a powerful story about the compassion that happened in Newfoundland and Canada after 9/11. So it's a play called Come From Away. My family in Canada has already seen it. They said it's very emotional, but I'm hoping to share that with you all once we see it this weekend. And the consul also mentioned that with the upcoming events, with the World Cup coming up, and then, America 250, anywhere we need some partnerships, they're able to work with us. But the most exciting part about this week was going over to the public health leadership led by our Middlebrook Regional Health Commission. It was the reorg meeting, so I met everyone for the first time. We talked about the emergence infectious disease trends. There are some coming up from Mexico that we can, keep you updated on once we get the final meeting minutes. We talked about the local vaccination rates, also throughout New Jersey. And then we also talked about some airborne and foodborne diseases that could come out of the FIFA World Cup that's taking place. We might have pop-up events around town. And then the regional commission actually is also Warren, and they're actually housing a lot of the players that will be, at the World Cup. So we just have to make sure we're preparing for all of this. Even if we don't have a planned event in Bridgewater, there could be a lot of pop-up gatherings. And I've just got an update. There are at least 100, I think, radon tests coming up. It hasn't gone here yet, but Bridgewater will be getting that, so just stay tuned. As you might already know, if you've sold a house or bought a house, it is a leading cause of cancer. So make sure, if you really need one, it's an effective way to protect your home, but yourself as well. And I think that's good for today. There were other, events that we've attended together. Really appreciate everyone inviting us to everything from ribbon cutting ceremonies to any food bank, work that we really need. Next month we'll be at the Feeding Hands, but, really at this time, I think just, be aware that there's a lot of volunteer opportunity. It's not just the council that gets engaged, it's really the community, the 10, 20 people that show up at all these events that make it so successful.
Thank you. Mr. Pappas, do you have a report for the mayor?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Certainly want to start with talking about the snow event and want to thank our Public Works employees and our police department for their efforts to help keep our residents and businesses safe. The suggestion that many have made for people to stay home and stay off the road really helped tremendously. Speaking to Chief Mitzak and Dickie Shimp, our Superintendent of Public Works, there were very few incidents that required any kind of emergency response, which certainly made their jobs much easier. Just a couple of statistics that might be of interest to you. Again, the big snowstorm that we had, between our Public Works employees and the contractors that we used, we had 42 vehicles that were out and about moving snow. Significant number and significant amount of snow. They continue to carry out what's called cleanup operations. Even this week, they continue to go and respond to every question or concern or complaint that has been provided. Whenever I get them or come to our office, they're forwarded to Public Works. Many people contact the police department and Public Works directly, and I'm very confident that Mr. Shimp and his staff will be as attentive as possible. I've told residents myself, it's not practical to expect every snowflake to be removed from every roadway. There's some people who have the sense that if they don't see the macadam, that it's unsafe to drive. I've also shared with people that up until recently, we've had temperatures that were below 20 degrees, and salt does not work under 20 degrees. And so many people don't know that, and I try to reiterate whenever I can. The other thing I should mention, because of the need for contractors, salt, which has not been readily available, the supplies statewide have been significantly below the anticipated needs, and so we have tried to conserve and use the salt again when temperatures go above 20 degrees and where needed most. The vertical roads that Public Works referred to them, roads that are on the mountainous roads, those are the first roads that salt is applied to for obvious reasons. I mentioned the use of contractors as well as significant overtime that our Public Works employees have had to have the state government governor declared or issued an executive order that allows any of the additional unanticipated expenses to be paid for out of the cap. So for those of you who may not understand municipal finance, there are certain expenses that are within a cap, meaning there's a restriction on how much of a portion of the budget can be increased year over year, and there are line items that are outside of the cap, which means those restrictions do not exist. So for this particular snow event, any of the expenses that we've incurred, or any other municipality or county in New Jersey, those expenses are not within the cap. Just a couple of other things. One other item I want to mention, one of the properties that we've gotten a number of complaints about snow is privately owned property. It's an apartment complex in the northern part of town, and I've had numerous communications with the management. I've been there myself a couple of times, and the mayor issued a letter that was hand-delivered to the property management company. This is for Bridgewater Square Apartments, and that was hand-delivered to them the other day, and we're sharing that with the residents who have contacted us. Just two other things. One item, I found a note in my file that several meetings ago, a member of the public had made an inquiry about a $25 mail-in fee that is charged for certain instances where there's there's a delinquency in property taxes and for tax sales, excuse me. And someone had asked that if we've gone to an electronic tax sale, why would there need to be a $25 mail-in fee? And I couldn't remember the specific answer, but I spoke to our tax collector and was reminded that the $25 fee is the fee that the municipalities are permitted to charge in sending the delinquency notices to the property owner, as a way that we are reimbursed for that expense that's prompted because of the tax payment that's delinquent. So it has nothing to do with the electronic tax sale, but about the delinquency in paying their property taxes. And lastly, we have our monthly newsletter that's been issued. Its copies, I think, are in the back, as well as available electronically. That's all I have. Thank you.
I just want to comment. The letter that the mayor wrote was just an extremely well-written letter, and I think it was very highly likely to be effective. I thought it was a good combination of strength and yet diplomatic. So I did want to acknowledge that. One lawyer to another. Sometimes we write good letters. I don't believe there are any proclamations.
I have a couple of follow-ups, if I may. So first of all, that was obviously a very comprehensive report. I think it just bears noting that, this snow clearing, it continues to be an ongoing operation. The first priority was keeping the roads safe, even if people weren't supposed to be on them. And then it was get some kind of pathway going through the street. Then it was get more of a pathway through the street. Then it's clean up the intersections. I mean, with the very, very cold weather and the extraordinary amount of snow, we collectively, particularly the DPW and contractors that are driving the trucks, this is I would call it an ongoing operation, and definitely I want to acknowledge Dickie Shimp. So I ran into him yesterday morning. I was walking the dog with my wife in our neighborhood, Lily, who's famous from being on the website. So we were walking her yesterday, and Dickie drove by, and he didn't recognize me because we were so bundled up. But then on second pass, he did stop, and we said hello. So the team, they've been doing an outstanding job. Just two other quick things, because I think these are relevant as we do future storm cleanups. One is newly paved roads plow really, really well. So that is not necessarily the reason why we're paving roads. We're paving roads because they need them and have a variety of other benefits. But a newly paved road, really does clean up nicely compared to one that's not. And then the other is, as we think about how do we do this smarter in the future, I'd like to offer my services, Mr. Pappas, to work with the administration on potentially some policy changes that we should consider You can always steal a good idea from someone else in Long Island. They temporarily suspended their prohibition against parking on lawns. And obviously, we don't want to be a community where people park on their lawns. But if someone can park on an area of their lawn that's just adjacent to their driveway, and then the car is not in the street, and the car is not impeding the clearance of snow in a particularly high storm event like we had, certainly it's an interesting idea. Exactly what that would look like, the devil may be in the details. But certainly looking at some situations where we can get as many cars off the roads, and certainly potentially revisit our snow emergency route designations and things like that. So I will volunteer to work with administration on that. And
There was also some talk pre-storm of trying to reopen the old bus lot on 22 in, is that, I guess, Milltown there?
Correct.
Yeah, to allow people to park their cars in there to get them off the street.
in a very interesting, again, I think that with a little bit of creative thought that we could have a number of interesting and new ideas, and maybe that's not for every storm. Maybe the average 2, 3, 4-inch storm, we don't need to worry about it. But when you get 6 and above, or a forecast for 6 and above, getting more cars off the street, I know is going to make life easier, not only for the immediate, but in the days to follow. I mean, I know on my street there's cars that are still snowed under.
If I failed to mention, thank you for the reminder, we meet weekly on these things, and we have had some preliminary discussions where police and public works are going to try to come up with various options that we could look at. Lots of municipalities do different things. They restrict parking on certain times, certain roads, one side of the road or the other, so there are a lot of things that we're going to try to consider and talk about.
I was in Washington, D.C. last week, and Boston earlier this week, and we're in far better shape than some of the cars up there that might not move for months.
But I mean, the whole problem with the cars is then you have to plow around
Oh, yeah.
it.
No, it is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's our problem.
Yes.
It's the person's problem because their car's snowed under. It's our problem because
Also harder
we
to
can't
plow.
clear the street. Right.
Yeah, and then they go dig out their car, and then there's snow.
And then the
left.
snow's all over the place again. Right. Thank you.
Mr.
Those are
President,
the comments.
There's one other thing I forgot to mention. It was suggested by a staff person that next week there's a zoning board meeting, and there's a pretty significant, unusual, unique case before the board. Rockland APV is before the zoning board at the February 10th meeting. It's in the Findern section of town and seems to have some interest by the community.
That's the lithium battery storage facility.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
We do not have, moving on, we don't have any proclamations, we don't have any presentations, so the meeting will be open to the public in a minute. Members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will have 3 minutes, which is liberally interpreted, to speak, which may be extended in the discretion of the council president. An additional minute will be allotted for responses to comments from the dais. So can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second?
I'll
Is anyone, any member of the public like to,
All in favor?
oh, sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Write your name and address.
Good evening, Council. Just 2 concerns that I really want to quickly bring up. One is the abrupt closure of the Redstone.
You have to say your name, Harry.
Hearses Othermullen, 497 Milltown Road, Bridgewater, New Jersey, 08807. Just 2 really quick concerns I want to bring up. One is the Redstone American Grill restaurant over at the mall that was abruptly just closed the other day. So that's one concern of mine. And then the other one is the vacant, I think, Tectonic property that's been sitting vacant for over 20 years over on Route 22 when you're going towards the mall, that abandoned property that's been sitting there. So I was just wondering, like, if the council has any kind of, like, say on that, or if they don't, or, if it goes through like another department or something like that.
So the tectonic property is before the zoning board, so we cannot comment on it.
Okay. And then the mall, that one,
You know, I don't know, I don't know.
I
if
found out when everyone else did.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Okay.
situation there is New Jersey is getting very aggressive with pocket liquor licenses, so that license basically goes into a pocket status right now. It's not being used, and the way the state's going, Grace can correct me if I'm wrong, but you basically have a limited amount of time to, where you're forced to either sell it or reactivate the liquor license.
It's not even in pocket yet, so.
Yeah, but it will eventually go pocket. To go pocket? Not being used?
Yeah, it's longer than you think.
I thought it was only 2 years now.
No. Yeah, I think that, but it's like, there's like 16 conditions on it. It's not much longer than you think. I'm doing it right now in Flemington, so.
I'm impressed that you know that.
I got one in Flemington, the Blue Crab in Flemington.
Okay.
So there are some circumstances, but there are like ways of extending it. When we get there, we'll get there.
actually, just another quick concern that had really popped into my head right now. So I live on Milltown Road. Near the end of the road where the pickleball courts are, kind of, there's Delane Voorhees' house, which I think Councilman Andrew Bucko, you didn't really touch on. I don't know if that's your like area of jurisdiction or if it's going to get recognized or something like that under the council, but just want to put that out there. I don't know if it falls under you guys or like someone else. I don't know.
Well, I think, Mr. Pappas, do you want to give a very,
It's township owned. That property is township owned. Bridgewater Township owns that.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure just to see who it fell under. So, but thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
If I
Anyone
might
else?
ask, what is the township doing with that property?
There have been a few grants that we have received from the county. There have been renovations that had taken place probably back in 2019 into 2020, and we still have some of those funds available, and it's a very slow process in that the funds, in order to maintain the historic status, the funds have to be used by appropriate contractors under the supervision of a historical architect. And a number of years ago, there was a rather lengthy report issued that outlines the kinds of renovations that could be made, again, to maintain the status. So we do have one that probably, over the course of this year, probably be coming to the council for some additional work there.
and if I may, it also bears mentioning with that property that, some of it is historic, it's not entirely historic.
Correct.
There's questions about, what is historic, what's worth saving, how could it be saved, how could it be creatively saved? I guess there'll be something this council takes on.
Yeah, there is an addition to the house on the, I guess you'd call it the northwestern part of the house, that was added on later, is not historically significant at all, and one of the plan would be to remove that.
Thank you.
Hello. This is my first time ever doing this. For those who
You got to
don't know
state your name.
who I am, I'm getting to that. I'm Katie Katchmar. I am Andrew Bucko's wife. I live at 543 Berrywood Lane. Andrew did not mention what happened at the blood bank, but he kind of lived. Anyway, my complaint has been that, and I've heard from other people who commute into Bridgewater, that when there's construction, so we live on Berrywood Lane, so it's right off of Foothill. So when there's construction or the cherry pickers that are trimming the trees, they will have a sign out, a big orange sign that says flaggers ahead. Now, I don't know if you know Foothill, but it's curvy, it's hilly. It's also happened yesterday on Country Club Road, where hilly, and they're trimming the trees. I don't know what they're doing, to make sure they don't fall down, what have you. And there's always signs that say flaggers ahead. This morning, it was on North Bridge Street by 22 when you go towards Somerville. Every single time we've driven past one of these things, there has never been a flagger. There have been police cars on both ends, with police officers maybe sitting in them, not there, not present, but there's never any flaggers. Now these, with the snow that is kind of like in the middle of the street, which I'm not going to touch on, everyone's touched on the snow before, there is no room on roads like Foothill or Country Club where these blind hills, and no one is flagging, no one is standing out there with a stop or a yield. And so it's just kind of been crazy, you have to guess. And I've heard complaints from people who don't live in this town, but who do commute into Bridgewater and have been fighting literally with the police in the cars because the police are also not from Bridgewater. So at North Bridge Street today, I think it was the state police that were
Two
actually
state
out
troopers, both were sitting in their car.
there. So I don't know if, yeah, I mean, it was not at a big intersection, but it's where it turns onto to go.
You had to drive on the wrong side of the road.
You
and there-
did.
And there was
You
no
did.
direct.
And
But also, sorry, I have to, like, using North Bridge Street, for example, county road. So when they're getting a permit or anything like that, they've got to be coordinating with the county.
Right.
Some of these contractors also, though, the ones on North Bridge today were actually hanging wires. They weren't cutting trees. They were
Okay.
installing wires, I know, from what I saw.
Okay.
But sometimes we get people that come out and they don't actually tell us they're coming. They just do the work.
So as of yesterday, when they were on Country Club Road, like right where that speed sign is, right off of 22, there's a hill there, and no one is there. You don't know what's around the corner. This happened all along Foothill. So some people I know work at the temple on the corner of Foothill and North Bridge, and anytime Foothill is on, there's no easy way to get over to the temple preschool. So I was just wondering, is there a way that we can make sure that there are actually flaggers out there so that we don't cause an accident? I don't know. I don't know if that's your jurisdiction. If it's a county road, fine, but I don't think Foothill is. I don't know if Country Club Road is. These are the past two, aside from today.
Portion of Foothill is town, a portion of Foothill is
It
county.
is, well, it's entirely all of Foothill Road, so it doesn't.
I would suggest that someone had conveyed this to me, that whenever someone sees a situation where it's potentially dangerous, call the police immediately.
But what if the police are right there?
Well,
No, you call our police department, and the appropriate supervisor would then become engaged. And sometimes if there is not a Bridgewater police officer, that is considered extra duty. So the police officers that, even if they're Bridgewater police officers that are there, they are not the normal patrol officers. And if Bridgewater Township police officers that are off duty are not available to take on those jobs, it's opened up to other police departments. And that's why you sometimes will see other police
Right,
department
but
vehicles.
regardless, shouldn't they be out there with the flags?
That's why if someone
So it's a
sees a
citizen's
specific
responsibility.
incident, they need to contact the police department, and that would be investigated.
Okay.
So I would encourage you or anyone else to do that when you see
Okay.
it immediately.
Okay.
Please, please do that.
Thank you.
Claudia Bateman, 94 Catherine Lane. Hold on.
I just want to acknowledge that our chief of police takes some of those jobs just to see what's going on and to be part of the community, and I think that's commendable. And that was pointed out by Councilman Ring.
I apologize, I missed the first
No,
word.
she just saying about John doing this.
Oh.
John out there hustling. Because he's a hustler.
Well, I think
Right.
that's a good thing for the community.
Good evening, hello again. Grace, thank you for your beautiful minutes, much better, nicer, more clearly written than any minutes I've put together in my various roles, and I get stuck writing minutes. And my goal is to be as intelligent as you made me sound in the minutes, so thank you. Councilwoman Isla, indeed, Come From Away is a beautiful story, great book. I was able to see it on Broadway, so it's good to know it's coming a little closer. Personally, I'm not used to having federal attention or the state of New York attention on our little hamlet of 47,000, but I could see things are changing with time. Middlebrook Public Health, yes. A few of us in the Alliance know Amelia Dominguez from the Middlebrook Public Health, and at our meeting yesterday. She updated us on kratom, so I don't know if she was reviewing that with you. It's a drug that's out there that's not regulated, but they're seeing a rise in it. And the main reason I'm up here is because I know we're actively recruiting committee members. So it immediately went through my mind, how many committees are there? How many seats are there? And I know you mentioned you want people from all over. So then I remembered my statisticians, and do we have 36 voting districts? And do we need to, make a database, and how many committees, and weight them on a scale of 1 to 10? And if you're the chairperson of the planning board, are you a 5? Or you meet once a year and you're just an individual contributor? Do you get a 1? And then do we need to have equal distribution across all 36 voting districts? So immediately I just started spiraling, like what are we going to do about that? Are we setting up a database?
And I don't
What's
think
the
we're going
plan
to
there?
get that complicated with it. I think we're going to see how many people apply first, and then we're going to do our best, the best we can, based on the people who apply, so that the town is run by the people who live in the town, so that we have more participation from more people.
Okay. I think that's it for me tonight. Other than that, you're talking about past snow, correct? We're not expecting more?
Depends upon which forecaster you listen to for this weekend.
Okay.
For real.
Thank you, Councilman Ring.
And thank
Also-
you.
Sorry, it's also going to be a high of like 20 this weekend and single digits at night.
Oh, no, I have asthma. I get it. You could just
Too
ask.
cold for road salt.
Yeah.
And thank you for mentioning the kratom. We didn't get to that on Monday, but yeah, it'll be my bedtime reading tonight. I'll definitely catch up on it.
Good.
Yeah.
Samantha Alley, 29 Manville Boulevard. I know that the township administrator brushed on this lightly, but I did have a question. I understand there's an application coming before Bridgewater Township to build a lithium battery storage facility in Findern. I was wondering specifically, since it's going to be at the intersection of East Main Street and Polhemus Lane, if the township council knows that that's an area that floods, it doesn't even need heavy rain. We've seen that time and time again. When these type of facilities flood, it creates serious problems when it comes to fire danger, and also the hazards that come along with that. Findern is already dealing with the soil problem from American cyanamide. What more do we really need to be dealing with in Findern? So my question is, how are you planning to ensure the protection of the citizens in Findern?
That is something that needs to be posed to the zoning board. So that application, they started it, it's been carried, it resumes Tuesday at 7 p.m. in this room before the zoning board. They will be the ones that will be hearing the application and questions like that. In the state of New Jersey, there's an appeal process where, depending upon how that goes, that could ultimately come before this council. So for us to discuss it is not necessarily appropriate, since we may have to adjudicate on it later. But fair question. I think your best bet is asking that of the zoning board on Tuesday.
Okay.
And just for clarity, if I may, Madam President, the zoning board, they are residents of Bridgewater. They are appointed. They are responsible for the well-being of Bridgewater. While there has been some change on that board, I believe that the underlying spirit of that board remains, which is that applicants get a firm and fair hearing. It is quasi-judicial. There are processes that need to be followed, and I can assure you that in this and every other case, that applicant will get a very thorough hearing. There will be multiple opportunities for the public to participate and ask questions and question witnesses, and ultimately have their say at the end of the hearing on how they feel about it.
I actually believe the chair is from Findern.
The current chair is from Findern, correct?
Good. Okay, and they are appointed, so they're not elected like you are.
They are, the zoning board is.
You guys are elected to.
The zoning board is appointed by the township council
Okay,
on terms that rotate depending upon the seat.
okay. As long as you, as elected officials, have us as concern, that's all that matters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kind of dovetailing on that, do we have a schedule for the meeting of the Environmental Commission yet?
I don't have that here.
Okay. Do you know when we will have that available?
I'll get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, I am Tim Kenny, 198 Short Hills Drive.
Hello, Mr. Kenny.
Hello. Yes, so I guess Mayor Munch is a snowbird, right? Because I don't see him here.
Actually, speaking of putting Bridgewater on the map, I believe he is at a mayor's, I think isn't he the president of the National Mayors Association?
Twice.
Oh, Republican mayor. It's still impressive. I'm still impressed. Hey.
He's in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yes, he's.
Yeah, 'cause I listen to NPR when I'm driving, and I watch Nova on PBS, and I know that the president wants to eliminate that. But some things that I didn't know about, like native plants rather than plants that are not native to New Jersey. And so one of my friends gave me, his wife gave me cone flowers, and I planted them in my backyard right by my sink window. And so all of a sudden I see bees, and then I see hummingbirds, and then like every type of, the state bird, because they're native. And so they were talking about, because all the animals for thousands of years need those. So if we can just encourage the town, the people in our town, to replace, for example, I have, if you have daffodils, they're not native, and a lot of plants. You can always look it up because there's a New Jersey native plant site, so you can look that up. But the Jersey tea bush is native, and it's small, so you can put them in front of your house, and they're natural, so all the animals will take advantage of that.
I hope my husband's watching because he loves to plant things. So.
Yes, exactly. And there's all native plants that you can, and flowers that you can plant in your yard, and that will help every animal in our area.
That's good to know.
Yes, exactly. That's why NPR is really important. Yes.
And the Environmental Commission,
Yeah, I was
because
just
we
gonna
can
say
get a
the
botanist on it.
And
Yeah.
also, I applied, but that was early, so I didn't know that I had to put my resume and the other document. So
We're taking our time with it just because I want to give people an opportunity to get the applications in.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so if you need that other information, let me know, and I will do that.
okay.
All right? Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not to belabor the point, but as an example, the Somerville Environmental Commission distributes seeds for local plants and also plants them around Somerville. So once we get ours back on its feet, that might be something for them to explore.
We are planning, the administration is planning some event regarding trees and Arbor Day season, so we'll be reporting on that soon.
Excellent. I look forward to that.
Hi, my name is Marlena Mikatak at 2 Cedar Street. I apologize, I'm not 100% today, but I'm doing my best. I came here today and a little emotional, so I'm sorry, but about the street John Christian in Garrettson, where the crosswalk is in front of the student parking lot. My son got hit by a car on Tuesday. Now, this is an area, he's okay, but this is the area where there has been multiple kids hit. I believe there's flowers because a kid had died there many years ago at the corner there. It's really, you could almost see it. Matter of fact, the person who called 911 was actually in the municipal parking lot, and they saw him get hit. And I mean, he was coming from after-school activities on the track winter team, They do a 5-mile run down, throughway. They do a little loop, and they come back up John Christian, and they go to, there's a crosswalk there, and they were crossing. There was 2 juniors, my son's a freshman, and the cars in the right lane were letting him go, and he saw it clear, and a black Mustang just was speeding by. And my son saw him, and he tried to turn, and he got hit, and he went, the report, there was many witnesses, 5 feet in the air. He said, "Mom, I realized I was in the air, and I didn't have control of it, so I just said St. Michael prayer, and I tried not to get, my head hit." He landed, and I don't know, from a miracle, because, I'm an ER nurse. This is truly a miracle. He was okay. He just, leg hurt, and whiplash, a little dizziness, and he got up. It was obviously called in. He was a level 1 trauma in New Brunswick. The guy stayed there. He got up. He asked the guy, "You gonna get out the car?" The guy was, I don't know what he said to him, but my son said, "I'm okay, I'm not dead," and the guy drove away. And to my knowledge, I don't even think they got the guy yet. There is a video from the student senior parking lot, so fingers crossed that they get him. But from what I was told, that the 25-mile-an-hour, the sign there that, could be flashing, was not flashing at that time. And at that time, there are a lot of school activities, and the kids are crossing the street back and forth. So I feel like that should have been flashing. And then maybe, he spoke with some of his friends. That, some came over to visit him. They've been, texting and such. And they were wondering if maybe even a speed bump, if you can't put I know, I live on Cedar, so I'm by Woodlawn and Lawton. There's even the light there where the kids press the button. So it's not a permanent light, but when a kid's there and needs to cross the street, they could press the button. Because, that's crazy. And the report, imagine getting this as a parent. I get the report that my kid goes flying and the car was reported doing 40 to 50 miles an hour. And I know what that means. And I lost it. And I say prayer every day knowing that it could have been a lot worse. So, there was another topic I wanted to bring up briefly from years ago, but my main thing was to see if there could be something maybe done at that intersection so it doesn't happen again. Because I know for a fact that it's not even an intersection, it's just that crosswalk to get the kids back to the field house. There's been many accidents there. And a lot of time, when I went to a doctor's appointment, one of the girls that went to Bridgewater was like, "Yeah, so-and-so Eddie or somebody got hit by a car on his bike." And, he was okay, but it's not always they're okay. I'm in the ER, I've seen it where it's not okay. And, thank God that, this was okay. That's that. And then the only other thing was,
Ma'am, if I could just address that, so I'll certainly will speak with Chief Bitzak and we'll review what occurred and see if there's anything that can be done to
anything.
try to prevent that. Yeah, I
anything,
understand,
even
of course. I'm glad he's okay, though. Glad
Yeah,
he's
no, thank God, but anything, if it's happened before in the past, they've put things in place, they have the crosswalk, but obviously it's not enough if it's still happening. And even the other thing I thought that maybe could occur, because the left lane where the Mustang was driving by, it ends, right, in front of the high school. So it could be interpreted as a passing left lane, but it's technically a left lane for people to turn. It's not a passing lane. And that car clearly took it as I'm going to speed by everybody that's, letting the kid wave the kids on. And there were 2 girls right behind him that firsthand witnessed it. That's that. But as I said, he's okay. He's got whiplash. His knee hurts. It's all bruised up, but he's walking and he's okay.
I know how you reacted because I talked to you on the phone from the parking lot. I'm Tim.
Oh, hey, Tim.
So, and I'm glad to hear he's okay.
Yes, I was like, you're in New Brunswick, I'm here, and when we got to New Brunswick, they did the trauma one, and he was in the, they stripped him, they did the whole team came in. And we got home at 1 in the morning.
Someone higher up was watching out for him that day.
No, and then oddly, I ran into a nun the next day, and I was like, but I felt it almost like my duty, and I'm splitting headache, and I don't feel good, and I was like, no, I have to make it today.
I just want to thank you for bringing that to our attention. and it's really, really important.
And, just whatever, like the most you could do. But Tim, thank you so much, because I was in freak out mode.
It's understandable when it's your own child.
And I mean, I thank God I was actually in East Brunswick, so I got to New Brunswick before he did. But they were expecting me. I made a couple calls. It was fast.
Did you have another topic you wanted to
I
address?
did, real quick. So many years ago, there was I was at a soccer game, and there was a guy who went into cardiac arrest at Crimfield. And I mean, I made it to my car. The coach started doing CPR, and somebody had called me to come and help, and I gave CPR to this man for like 30 minutes until police arrived, because they were the local ones were busy, so Finn Dern had to come. And we shocked him once, we got him back, and then obviously I followed up, and he survived. After the fact, I went here and I contacted community nursing at Robert Wood, and we tried to get AEDs put in place at places like that, because it wasn't at Crim, and I found out that there are no AEDs at most of the parks in Bridgewater and in actually Somerset County.
That's true. I can't remember seeing one.
No, they're not. So it's not a problem with the donation of the AEDs. When I tried my best to do as much as I could, but again, I have 5 kids and I work as full time. But the problem was that there's nobody to change the battery. So that's where
It's also an outdoor storage issue.
Correct. Yeah, that's what
Because-
it is. It has to be stored outside, and that's the whole, the battery has to be changed
Yeah.
at a temperature.
The temperatures, yeah.
Yeah.
Most manufacturers do not recommend them below certain temperatures or above certain temperatures.
I think what it had to be in a specific storage unit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to side note that, just because, I came here and I felt that very important at the time too. But that person also survived. But I mean, that's almost scary that at baseball fields and stuff where, something awful could happen. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council? Hello.
Hello.
Mr. Pedroso.
Good evening. So ready? At the January 22nd council meeting, I raised concerns about the direction this governing body is taking. I specifically called out the 3 Democratic council members for prioritizing prejudicial identity-based considerations over merit when making appointments to Bridgewater's boards. More broadly, I warned against the growing tendency to judge people based on assumptions and appearances rather than facts, character, and qualifications. As part of that discussion, I referenced a statement made by Councilwoman Isla at the reorg meeting, where she declared herself the first Muslim elected to this council. Her personal faith is not the focus here. What matters is how the conclusion of first was reached and what it reveals about the mindset behind it. In response to my remarks at the January 22nd meeting regarding her assertion that she is the first Muslim to serve on this governing body, Councilwoman Isla said, and I quote, "We have fact-checked everything I've said in my speech. So if you like that list, we have a list of all the elected council members here since 1948. Because not only do I look for facts, and I requested those before I came here and made my speech to make sure I triple-checked everything I speak out to the public," end quote. I did follow up, and Councilwoman Isla did provide me the list she relied upon. It confirms exactly what I feared. The list contains only the years of service and the names of council members, nothing more. No religions, no affiliations, no statements of belief, nothing. It is impossible to determine the religion of any individual from that list. The only way Councilwoman Isla or anyone could conclude that no prior council member was Muslim is by judging based on how a name looks or sounds. There is no other method. That is not fact-checking. That is bias and prejudice, and it is unacceptable from any elected official. I have friends and family who are Muslim with names as common as those on that list. In fact, my wife, Liana Pedroso, maiden name Valiva, grew up Muslim, and her parents are Muslim. I doubt Councilwoman Isla would assume their faith based on appearances or names that don't look or sound Muslim. This is precisely the danger of prejudice. It reduces people to assumptions. It replaces facts with stereotypes. And when it comes from those entrusted with public power, it undermines confidence in fair and equal governance. Prejudicial conduct by elected officials is wrong. Councilwoman Isla did not have the proof she claimed. She reached a conclusion based on...
Mr. Pedroso, you're at 3 minutes. I'm just letting you know.
I'm the only one you cut off, just to let you know. I'm almost done. She reached a conclusion based on prejudicial assumptions, not facts, and then presented that conclusion as verified truths to the public. More broadly, the 3 Democratic council members of this governing body have begun their tenure on a dangerous path, placing identity ahead of merit, narrative ahead of facts, and symbolism ahead of substance.
You're at 3.5 minutes.
Bridgewater deserves better. Appointments should be based on qualifications, character, and service, not on checkboxes or preconceived labels. I hope the new Democratic council
Thank you.
members reflect on this
Thank you,
approach.
Mr. Pedroso. Thank you.
Okay, just
You are
just
at
for the
3
record,
minutes and
I'm the only one
47
you've cut off.
seconds.
Many people have gone over 3 minutes, and you have not cut them off. When it comes to criticizing this governing body and you specifically,
You are
you
repeating
decide to
what
cut
you,
me
or
off.
I let you go last time as long as you wanted. It's enough. And you're sitting here and you are being disrespectful towards one of our members. It's enough.
I'm not being disrespectful, ma'am. I'm being factual. These are the facts. It may be hard for you to hear, but they are the facts.
Mr. Pedroso, thank you.
I
Does
have
anyone else, would anyone else like to speak? Because I think there are other people that would like to be heard as well.
I do have the email I received from her for the record. I'm going to give it to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Pedroso.
Yeah, I live on Murphy Drive. My name is Manju Rao. One of the questions, there's a lot of discussion of, it was about snow. And I did call, I think, extension 6000, and they were very nice. They gave me a lot of suggestions at the same time. One of the questions that came up was on Murphy Drive, I still see car parked outside. Is there any way township can mandate when we have snow, they cannot park car outside? Because I'm off Vanderveer Road. When I go to Raritan, they have a board where it says that when it snows, they cannot have their vehicle outside. And I was told by townships, for 30 years they have been trying to make sure that there will be a mandating so that people don't park their car. Even if they have 3 cars or 4 cars, they still have their driveway. I'm not saying throughout the Bridgewater, but at least I'm saying that those who have their driveway as well as the garage, They stuff everything in the garage, or they have the vehicle, they don't take it out also. I know they are at home, but if they are not home, they can just call township and say that, hey, you know what, let's say I'm in Portugal or something, I cannot take my car out, please don't give me a ticket. So why is it so difficult that we cannot mandate when other townships do?
I don't know. Does anyone here?
I'm sorry, maybe I can address that. So, I don't know if you were here at the beginning. Sorry, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the meeting or during our conversation about snow, but I volunteered on behalf of the council to work with administration to understand what we can and what we should do about getting cars off the road, particularly when there's a substantial storm like we just had. One of the suggestions that I heard, again, I'll borrow a good idea from somewhere else in Long Island. They temporarily suspended prohibition against parking on lawns. In my mind, a solution, and I live in this neighborhood, and I know how tight the houses are. I know how short some of the driveways are. I would much rather see a person potentially squeeze 3 cars into a two-car driveway, even if it means one of them needs to be halfway onto a lawn temporarily, rather than have them on the streets. The problem with them being on the streets is our plows can't get through. And then instead of clearing curb to curb, it can go substantially. I believe it is a public hazard, particularly when we have substantial storms. It is something I noticed. It is something that I've raised and that we will be working on. I think we'll be working on potential alternate solutions. There were some other things suggested, some places that could be temporarily opened so that people could put their cars somewhere else. Looking at snow emergency routes, I think it's all on the table.
Yeah, the car still parked outside. There are a couple of cars, and Murphy Drive was not cleaned properly, even though when I raised the same question, the township said there should be some mandate, which should be worked on,
So the simple answer is, we learn from this, from each storm, and get better. And my big learning is we need to get more cars off the streets.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing a wonderful job throughout,
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Ayaz Beg. I live at 5 Fairway Court in Bridgewater. I've been a resident of this town for 11 years. You may recognize my name. It was the name that the municipal council majority removed from the CERT list of volunteers worthy of insurance coverage in its very first meeting on January 8th. I believe you have the wrong impression of me based on one simple post. I'm here to clear up any misunderstandings or misgivings this council may have and defend my reputation. I'm a South Asian immigrant Muslim. I was happy to see a fellow South Asian immigrant Muslim win a seat on this council. But to me, representation goes beyond skin tone or place of birth. It's more about alignment of values and principles. So when I saw the councilwoman's support for Gavin Newsom for president on a Facebook post, I asked a question. As a fan of Gavin Newsom, do you plan to implement California-style policies in our town? That's it. I guess that ruffled some feathers. Later, I found out that I was singled out for exclusion and barred from participating in Bridgewater CERT program as a volunteer. CERT stands for Civilian Emergency Response Team. I was then referred to the police chief for further scrutiny. That's after meeting every single criteria required of me, completing hours of weekly training spanning 3 months that include classrooms and hands-on instruction, including full weekend days, inside and outside in the cold. And that's after fingerprinting and passing a comprehensive background check. Now, I'm not a divisive person. I just want this council to know who I am. I'm not mean, partisan, or confrontational, as was assumed. I live a quiet, happy, and peaceful life in the Green Knolls area. I have a wonderful wife. We just celebrated our 15th anniversary last month. I have 4 young children who are in our town's public schools. 3 of my children were born here, and my oldest was only 1 when we moved here. You see, I grew up poor. My family of 6 lived in a tiny apartment in Irvington, New Jersey, 2-bedroom apartment. I could have never imagined someday living in a big, beautiful house in Bridgewater, surrounded by wonderful neighbors. I have achieved the American dream, and I owe it to this country, its constitution, and its people. A country that took me in at age 8 from Pakistan, educated me, gave me countless opportunities and a fair shot at success. It allowed me to prosper, be free, be me, and never showed any ill will, bias, or racism towards me. I have tried my best to return this generosity, and I have a long history of community service and volunteering. I started early. At age 12, I was a crossing guard in Florence Avenue School in Irvington. In high school, I was in the Key Club. We would clean parks every weekend at age 14. I was also a camp counselor, and I took inner city kids camping and taught them backcountry skills in Flemington. I participated in the Irvington Police Explorers program and made sure my uniform was always starched and creased. In university, I was one of the founding members of the Cross Cultural Association, and ICE, not Immigration and Custom Enforcement, International Cultural Exchange Program. That's what we did, and what we did there was help international students open bank accounts, get driver's licenses, adjust to American life. Later, while living in Newark, I volunteered as a career counselor at Kintalk 3. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a giant halfway house in Newark. I spent hours helping inmates develop computer literacy, develop their resumes, and earn gainful employment to prevent recidivism. And I did this while having a full-time job and being a full-time student. After moving to Bridgewater, I've been a key member of the Al-Falah Muslim community at the mosque. I participated in the creation of the Al-Falah governing body, which was not very democratic or diverse. Fortunately, we had elections, and now we have women and a diverse range of people representing the board there. I was at the groundbreaking ceremony with a shovel. And I do want to thank the council for their help in getting our masjid built. It was built in record time, thanks to the efforts of Jeff Foose from the zoning board. He was there 3 times to answer our questions and remove roadblocks, and I do appreciate that. Other activities, I've worked with my son's Boy Scout troop. This is Act 96 Den 8 as a co-leader. I have volunteered in various political campaigns, knocking on doors, addressing letters, managing campaign finances, and things like that, which I'm sure you're familiar with since you just won this election. Last year, I joined the Bridgewater Citizens Police Academy. I believe you were on that as well. That's right.
I sat next to you.
That's right, you did. I knew the face looked familiar. And I wanted to learn more about the police officers and how they operate. And I will tell you, I developed a further appreciation of the hard work our officers do and their higher moral character. I wanted to continue that work, and I found out that CERT was the next best opportunity. So first, I did fingerprinting, met all FEMA requirements, that's Federal Emergency Management Agency. I had to meet New Jersey Office of Emergency Management requirements. I had to be accepted into the program by the Bridgewater Police Department, and I passed all of that. Now, it seems like there's a hiccup, because CERT is a very important program. When emergencies strike, local police, EMTs, fire staff, first responders may be stressed thin. That's when they can count upon us, people like me who have a long history of volunteering, to come to the rescue. God forbid we have a natural disaster like Superstorm Sandy, it's people like me who will step up. And I know I've gone over, so I'll try.
No. I just want to ask you one thing. Just tell me that you never intended to cause any kind of harm or upset to anyone with your post, and that's good enough for me.
No, absolutely not. It was a policy question. I'm a resident of this town. There's a change in leadership. I want to see what direction the town is going in. And so it was an innocent question, really trying to figure out where the policies were going to be, what policies were going to change going forward.
It's good enough for me. I assume it may be good enough for everyone. I don't know about anyone else, but it's good enough for me. And I do want to thank you for coming here and taking the time to explain.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think that's really important. Yeah. And you have a very impressive resume.
Oh, thank you. Look, my wife wears hijab, and she has been a victim of bias intimidation, especially in high school. So I understand the sensitivities around that. And I don't want to, and that's why, I want to make sure that everybody understands that I'm not here to call anybody out or anything like that. But I'm a political animal, right? I'm a policy wonk, I'm a news junkie. I really care about these things, I mean, I never thought I would live in this town, in this giant house. I mean, the kids in our neighborhood use our pool for swim instructions. I'm deeply embedded in this town, and I really care about it. So when there's a change, I want to know where that change is going to be. And that's where that question came from. And if I caused any harm or any hurt feelings, I just want you to know that that was not my intent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen Lochran, Bridgewater, and I had prepared something, but now I'm going to have to email it to you because I took some notes on a couple of things. One, I want to match your fun fact in terms of 250 and revolutionary knowledge. Oliver Cromwell, he was one of the few and first black soldiers in the Continental Army, and I think what's interesting about that and why I find it relevant to Bridgewater is that he was in the 2nd New Jersey. So his regiment came to where Camp Cromwell currently is, the Middlebrook area, and left and came back and left and came back. But what makes him sort of stand out, aside from being from New Jersey, is one of the earliest paintings of the Delaware crossing with Washington. He was in it. He was considered to be one of his closest advisors and had, I don't remember the exact name of the award, but he had won, or he had received some sort of award. So I wanted to match that, but also mention that I have always believed that it would be nice to have those Americans that did serve, that were very few but very mighty, recognized, either in our town or by our county. So maybe that's something that you can pursue in the future.
I would love that.
Thanks. I also wanted to thank DBW. They did a great job. They did knock off my mailbox, but I was informed that they have very good mailbox engineers, and they took care of it. So I really appreciate them. I heard the mention of FIFA. I don't know what the plans are, but yes, please. And if there's a sign up, I volunteer my services for anything that they're doing, especially if there's a party involved.
Sure.
On the topic of kratom, I don't know if you're aware of what kratom is. It's a very potent, like green substance that mimics opioids. And it's really available in any of your bodegas and smoke shops and stuff like that. And it's so easy to overdose on it that because I heard it mentioned, I literally went off my usual skate park track because I feel like I'm glad that it was acknowledged. I really want to support continuing to make parents and everybody aware of it because it's so easy to overdose on this stuff. And it's so easy to get. And it comes in so many different forms now that you don't even, like, parents will see it and not even know what they're looking at. So thanks for the acknowledgement.
So scary.
I support it. I also am glad to see this recruitment for volunteers. Parks, I serve on Parks. Parks has had a hard time, staying organized with this one event that we do around Earth Day. And I know you mentioned the Arbor Day event. And
I meant to say Earth Day too, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't because I don't want to overcommit at this point. But I would love to get as much support from administration on keeping that alive because so many people really loved that event. And I literally am hitting on every comment here today. On the topic of native flowers, we were giving out native flowers at that event, and I believe it was Friends of Bridgewater in partnership with a Girl Scout troop that did it, but it was really cool. People loved it. They made little seed balls with their hands, and kids got dirty, and anytime you give kids a chance to play in dirt, they're having a good time. I know I had something else. Oh, to the mom. Mm-hmm. I share her. I got a little emotional too listening to her, but I share her deep concerns about not just that intersection, which I have actually almost been hit on my scooter there because of that very thing of people just trying to I don't know what it is about that area that people just are entirely too reckless considering the kind of street it is, but also John Christian itself and Thruway. I love that that young people use that road to run, especially the cross country and the soccer teams. They run down John Christian. They come through my neighborhood, go around, and then come back up. I don't know how far of a distance it is, but they've been doing it since I grew up in this.
A little over a 5K.
See, you know what I'm talking about. In part of what I've been advocating for around safe routes to school, I have suggested some ideas like, I know that it's hard to do bike lanes. I know it's hard to do signage sometimes, but using color-coordinated ways to signify that a road is safe and that is intended for pedestrian or roadway use. I will put that in an email because I'm going to go way over 3 minutes if I try to talk to that. But if there was any route in Bridgewater that really needs a little bit of attention in terms of giving young people a safe route to perform a recreational activity, that would be one of them. And I'm having a hard time not commenting on this, so I'm just going to come out with it. I support your claim, Ms. Isla. I know I pronounce your name wrong. I think it's Isla, right? I always say it wrong. I apologize. I think in this day and age, like, you know, we can fight about a lot of things, but with like what's going on in the world, I'm Jewish, so, you know, what's going on in the world right now and this sense of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really need to put it into words. I think you know what I'm trying to say. But I just want to say that I support your claim, and I think it's something that if you're proud of it, I'm happy for you to be proud of it. So thank you for the time.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Pepe. I live at 33 2nd Street in the borough of Raritan, and I'm honored to be serving as the board president of the Bridgewater Raritan Regional Board of Education for this year. I just wanted to thank the council and everyone here for the very thoughtful gesture that was made at the last meeting in honor of School Boards Month, and particularly the section of the proclamation that recognized all the great things and the pride that we all share and the great things that are going on in our schools in terms of academics, social activities, and athletics on the playing field. You know, one of the great things about being on the board is that you get to hear about a lot of the great things going on, but you don't always get to see them. Sometimes you get to see the end result, you know, in a game or a final production, but you don't always get to see all the hard work and everything that goes into it, which is why I just really wanted to briefly also acknowledge a vital element of our board for many years, and that is our student representatives. Every year we have 3, at least since I've been on the board, we've had 3 student volunteers who have been selected and volunteer their time to come out at night, sometimes to very late meetings, sometimes with a lot of homework and 13 tests the next day, or maybe not 13, but a lot, and weigh in on the topics that we're talking about. Sometimes that's good news, things that are going great, new initiatives that are going well. Sometimes it's really good feedback on things that are stressful or things that are challenging. And sometimes you see changes that take a little while to take hold and for everyone to get on board with. But I know the administration cares very deeply about that feedback and is able to put that into action to make the student experience really, really great. So I just wanted to thank them. This year we have the 3 excellent students, Crystal, Paratosh, and Matt, who are involved in a lot of things. They are beyond serving in that role. They are wonderful representatives of the high school, of our board, and of our communities. And we thank them very much for their insight and service, not just into the great things that happen. You know, it's not just a list of accomplishments, but you get a little bit of a sense of the hard work and teamwork from our staff and our students that goes into making that happen. So thank you very much to them, and thank you again to the council for that very great recognition and a really nice night. I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but thank you all very much.
Mr. Pepe, it's so nice to put a face to the name.
Thank you, same here. Although I did see the video last time, so I had a sense, well, your name is right in front of you, so I was able to do it. Thank you very much. And at the last meeting, we weren't buried under a foot of snow, so thank you to DPW from Bridgewater and from Raritan for getting the snow, it's not perfect, getting the roads cleared so quickly that we only had to miss 1 full day of school. So that wouldn't have been possible if not for the DPWs in both towns. So thank you very much to them.
And I do want to make one more comment just about the snow. I know we've talked about it a lot, but we did receive a lot of complaints, but to my knowledge, none of them were about the DPW. A lot of them were about the outside contractors. And, you know, we can talk about how to deal with that, but the DPW, our DPW workers have done a great job. I think we all agree.
Yeah, and I know at the Raritan meetings, that's the one thing you hear consistently is everyone appreciates very much the hard work that DPW does in both towns. So that's
Thank you for serving as president of the Board of Education.
thank you.
I
It's a great
sympathize.
honor. Oh, geez. Well, congratulations, and thank you too, and thank you to everyone for your service to Bridgewater and the community at large. So thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you. I think just about everybody here spoke. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? I think so.
Seeing no one, move to close public comment.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion of the meeting is closed. We do not have any ordinances. We do have a series of resolutions. Mr. Pappas, do you want to proceed with A, or do you want to remove it from the agenda? It's your call.
Administration would like to remove this until next meeting.
Okay. That works for me. I don't think we need do we need a vote on that?
I mean, it is on.
Motion to table 12A.
Great.
It is on your agenda.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, B, resolution in support of the Hudson Tunnel Project funding. This is a resolution, I don't think we need to read the entire resolution, right?
Definitely don't.
Okay. So I'm going to let Andrew summarize it, since he basically wrote it, and Councilman Kirsch edited it very nicely. So I'm going to let Andrew explain to the public what that is, and then we can vote on the resolution.
Well, thank you very much. This is a simple, if not wordy, resolution that is expressing the support for continued funding of the Hudson River train tunnel project, which, as we all know, would greatly benefit Bridgewater residents who commute on the Raritan Valley line with the expanded capacity, tunnel capacity that this would provide, in addition to continued service with the deteriorating existing tunnels. The added capacity would ultimately allow for one-seat rides at more than just off-peak times. And in addition to the benefit to Bridgewater residents, thousands of jobs are unfortunately at stake with the funding that has already been approved by Congress in Washington being halted. And this is simply expressing the opinion that the funding should continue and the project should be seen to completion.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second? I'll second. I think we have to have a roll call on this one.
Councilman Baco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Isla?
Yes.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Geiger?
Yes. I think Councilman Ring wanted to.
My comment, fully I support it and support this project. And I don't know if this is going to change the administration's views.
Well, we could try, right? Okay.
Not this administration either.
Okay, resolution 12C. Again, Mr. Pappas, did you want that withdrawn from the agenda?
Yes, until the next meeting, please. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have all in favor, or can I have a motion to withdraw?
Motion to table 12C.
And I'll second it. All in favor?
While we're at it, I mean, do we want to just table 12C?
You want to go ahead? Yeah, go ahead.
12C, E, and G?
I believe Mr. Pappas has made that request.
Yes, yes.
What about F? Are we tabling F?
No.
No, okay.
I need a motion to just table those. You don't have to read the titles.
Okay.
The motion is to table 12C, E, and G.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that puts us to F,
12D.
D.
12D, sorry. D is not being, okay. Oh, okay. Authorizing, so this is a resolution to authorize approving the final list of volunteer members of the Bridgewater first aid and rescue squads who qualify for contributions, $1,557.38 for the year 2025 under the Township LoSAP Length of Service Award Program in the Township of Bridgewater, County of Somerset, to be funded from the 2025 LoSAP account. Just by way of explanation, this is required by state law, and I added it up. Given the number of people that would qualify for this, it's a little over $40,000 for the town. I think that's a small price to pay for the work that the rescue squad and firefighters do, volunteer. This program, and I think you probably know more about it than I do.
Well before I was on the council, I was instrumental in having this program passed. But that's a whole nother long story. Yeah, it's a statewide program. We are required to approve the names and award the funds, and the amount of is awarded is increased each year based upon state formulas.
Actually becoming meaningful.
Yeah, not really.
Getting there.
If you add up all the hours that some of these people
That's
volunteer, $1,550 is not.
Buy a couple pizzas.
Yeah, it's not, you're not retiring with it, but it is something, and it's appreciated, and I will gladly move it.
Second.
And just the briefest of discussions, we speak frequently about how much we appreciate our volunteers. I think we need to not just say it, but show it. I think we also need to acknowledge, the critical importance of attracting more volunteers, the CERT program that we've now discussed, the EMS, volunteer fire. We need to do everything that we reasonably can to encourage volunteerism in that way.
Thank you. I do want to note that a member of the public did reach out to me and had questions about how the calculations are done. And I was going to ask if perhaps someone in the administration who has better math skills than I do, or maybe Mr. Corzini, if he's really good.
We're both lawyers, Council President. So not good.
Could maybe circulate a memo to the fire and rescue squad people just explaining how to do the calculations, because it did look like a pretty complicated system
Just
to
to
me.
clarify, the fire departments are governed by the Board of Fire Commissioners, which are their own government entity, and therefore the fire districts provide LoSAP separate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We are only voting on the rescue squads.
That I knew. Go ahead.
Any length of service awards program for the fire departments are done by the Board of Fire Commissioners and the fire districts. There's 4 of them in the town.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Anyway, can I have, I think time for a roll call?
Councilman Bacco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Isla?
Yes.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
yes.
President Geiger?
Yes. And that brings us up to F. Okay. Authorizing submission of a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the Local Recreation Improvement Grant, Alfred E. Brown Park, in an amount of up to $75,000, with an additional $75,000 funded from the Open Space Fund for the total project amount of $150,000. This is a park that's in the Bradley Gardens area, and I believe it's for repairing and renovating the tennis courts. Correct, Mr. Pappas?
Yes, the township has been very successful over the last few years, and this would be if granted this award, it would be the third grant, excuse me, that we've received to improve parks. The first one was the Kidd Street here on the complex. The second one was the Miller Park in the Hobbstown section of town, and now we hope this one will be successful.
Can I have a motion to approve?
Moved.
Second? I'll Need a
second.
roll call on that, right? Okay, go ahead.
Councilman Bacco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Isla?
Yes.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Geiger?
Council President, I know we just finished.
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
Okay, no, I'm something different. I know we just finished F, and I know you made some comments about some of these other appointments and whether or not they would move forward tonight. And I'll be very honest with you, I'm concerned that we put these on the agenda and we carry them from one meeting to another. I'm also don't know the answer, but I have to wonder at some point, are we going to hear from the vicinage that we haven't appointed our prosecutor or public defender? I am going to move 12H through O on consent.
I'll second.
I think we might need a roll call on that.
Councilman Bucko,
What are we voting to?
H through O.
To approve them.
Well, I think we should do them individually, so I'm going to vote no.
The motion is on consent.
The motion is to combine them and vote yes.
And I'm voting no.
Councilwoman Isla,
No.
Councilman Kush,
Yes.
Councilman Ring,
Yes.
President Geiger.
No.
So if I may be recognized?
Sure.
I know we discussed advancing Mr. Ayaz Baig for the cert. What I believe we need to do is essentially mirror the resolution 2601-08010, and where it had the list of the 23 people, or whatever the number was, we now need to have an individual one that solely names Mr. Ayaz Baig. So I guess my question to Mr. Corsini is my describing what we intend in a resolution sufficient? Do we need to have that formally and properly drafted with Mr. Baig's name?
Councilman Kirsch, can you repeat your question? I'm sorry. It's sometimes hard to follow, but can you just state it more succinctly, please?
Well, I think I was pretty darn succinct, but I'll restate it anyway. It is our intention to nominate Mr. Ayaz Baig to join his colleagues that we took action on back a couple of weeks ago. So it is our intention, I believe, to pass a resolution that mirrors 2601-08010, and I have copies of it if anybody needs it. But instead of all those 20 whatever names, we substitute in only Mr. Ayaz Baig's name with all of the same information. So my question is my describing what we want to do sufficient, or does this need to be properly drafted and can then be 12A for our next meeting?
I think he wants to know if we can pass it now, if we can approve.
The resolution that was approved at the last meeting, you want to amend that resolution to add Ayaz's name?
Would either be an amendment or a new resolution just to add them, whichever is cleanest.
Whatever you tell us to do.
There's a motion to amend the prior resolution. You can add Ayaz, he's here.
Yeah, I think it's nice he's here.
All right,
Let's do
well,
it.
then I guess I'll make a motion that as tonight's resolution, what letter are we up to? No, at the back. Would it be P?
P.
So P, as Resolution 12P tonight, that we amend 2601-08010, which we took action on a few weeks ago, and add Mr. Ayaz Baig's name, and now we have a resolution that has the complete roster for cert.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I think we need a roll call.
Yes.
Just as a point of clarification here, this is a advice and consent appointment, correct?
Yeah, it's advice and consent, but
Does it
we can.
need to originate from the administration?
Giving our consent.
Okay.
It's already been, the nomination was already nominated. So
Okay,
you
so
guys
we
decided to
don't,
take-
so by doing the amendment, that's,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a bit
okay.
of a procedural morass at this point, which was as to my comments before, but this is perfectly fine.
Good.
I do it this way.
Okay.
Okay, we need a roll call then.
Councilman Bucko,
Yes.
Councilwoman Isla,
Yes.
Councilman Kush,
Yes.
Councilman Ring,
Yes.
President Geiger.
Yes. Congratulations. All right. I think we're done with all our business.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, do we have a closed session item?
I don't believe, does anybody have a closed session item?
Well, we had discussion,
Yeah,
potentially.
we also.
No, Mr., as far as I know, no, we don't.
Well, I had a discussion item, but we've already handled it, so I don't have any discussion.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. All right, we're adjourned.
With these things, we have to argue.
Never stand in the way of an adjournment.
Wait,